the first idea was about a soldier who has been a professional soldier all his life, and suddenly he realizes what he has done all his life, and he wants to quit. And then politicians force him to re-enlist again. And he doesn't want it, but he is blackmailed because of the woman he has wounded, etc., etc. He is blackmailed to take up his old job. That was the original idea, and we didn't find the possibility, and it was a lot of loose ends in the script. And we left it for a great many years. And then I read some books, and I thought, oh, but we should do it like this and like this and like this, and we shouldn't stay with the old soldier, but we should put a new guy in, like John, the fighter. And it slowly evolved from there.
I've made a war machine.
War machine? It's nothing but a damn beer barrel, Stephen.
Filled with gunpowder.
Most of the incidents in the movie are based upon chronicles, diaries and books written by Spanish officers during the War of Liberation.
Because that was my city! They threw me out!
In Holland, Holland was part of the Spanish Empire, but in 1568 they became Protestant, and the Catholic kings didn't want a revolution there, so they spent a Spanish army there to to quench the uprising there. And a lot of those soldiers who came from Spain or who had fought in Italy were confronted by Dutch jumping over canals and ditches, and it was mortars and everywhere. It was terrible for them. So when they came back after 10, 15, 20 years, if they were lucky enough to come back, they wrote their memoirs. And their memoirs were edited and were translated before 1940. A lot of them, 1940, a lot of them were translated, and I read them, and I thought, well, this is great stuff. I mean, finding a statue and saying, this is going to save us, we are down and out, and nobody is going to rescue us, and we are in the deepest shit possible. And then they found the statue. And then, because people always cling to something that they can use for hope, huh? Because hope is the only thing that matters for people. That was, and so you have the story of the old soldier. Then I discovered the stories of the Spanish officers and the Spanish soldiers who were in Holland in 1560, 1580, 1610.
Damn you.
And then I thought, well, who are the villains, or who are the people, who are the soldiers that are thrown out, are no longer needed and kicked out of the city and have to give. But I thought, who were they? But if you look at that, I thought, well, let's look at old Mr. Hitler and his entourage, and Martin, the principal figure, is Hitler. The cardinal is Goebbels. The two homosexual soldiers are the SA guard, like Röhm, etc., etc. So I took the principal characters from the Nazi hierarchy, and I made them into professional soldiers who were kicked out of the army. And it's very curious that very, very amazed to hear that because of the violence, the film was never released in Germany. The man Koch told me. But I think, I know, after this, I think, yeah, it's not so curious at all. But somehow they recognized their old past in that.
He wasn't one of us. And anyone who isn't with us is against us.
And anyone who is against us will wind up on the end of this sword.
And it was originally thought and based in Holland, with canals and vast meadows and people suddenly rising from nowhere and attacking those curious soldiers who were completely out of place there. But it's not only this. It's not only that the cardinal is Goebbels, but Hawkwood is England, is the old soldiering, the old empire building soldier. And Jan is in reality is America with the new inventions and all the power to do things, and they have the big industry, and they're far more inventive than Hawkwood. And the throwing of the pest infected dog is in reality the bombardments, the bombing of Germany during the Second World War. That man who is a ruthless killer, and then he gets all those spears in his life. You know, he dies hanging like that, and the blood flowing from his mouth, and he's leaning on the spears. But that's a pilot, a bombing pilot. If you are up in the air and pushing a button, and 20 tons of bomb fall, and then you say, okay, released, return home, you never realize what you're doing. He says, he's astonished, he says, but I'm bleeding. But he never realized that he made people bleed 10,000, 20,000 feet below him. So that's, yeah, it's complicated. And in the end, it's about fascism. The movie is about fascism. And fascism is something that you can't eradicate from society, never. And that's why they go into the castle through the chimney, and in the end he escapes through the chimney with the gold, and he goes off happily in the distance, because he is a fascist, and a fascist somehow always manages to escape with the booty. And you can't kill fascism, so that's why he leaves. He leaves a thing in burning, the whole castle burning and falling down, and this complete destruction. Well, if I start writing a script, if there is an idea, I try to find illustrations of that idea. I try to find whether there are paintings of it, or in modern times photographs of it, or etchings of it, or drawings of it, etc., etc. And if I find them, they inspire me for scenes, like the scene with the two people executed, man, with a couple underneath it, making or talking about love. I look at those things. I try to find them. They inspire me in the writing, and I show Paul what I have found, And as he is deeply interested in paintings and all visual things as a director should be, he laps that up and he looks at it and he tries to come as close as the original in his mise en scène and in his art direction, etc., etc. So yeah, we are both inspired by the art of the past, the visual arts of the past.
When a man is hanged, he comes, and his semen spills to the ground. That's where your mandrake sprouts.
Le Désastre de la Guerre is a series of etchings, the horrors of war. You have a series of etchings made in about 1630, and everything that you see in Flesh and Blood is in the etchings. And if you look at we're in Spain now, but if you look at Los Desastres de la Guerra van Goya, you see a lot of things that American movie makers don't dare to put in their films. And he saw it and he depicted them.
Get out of the way!
But I've worked with other directors and I was less happy, but with Paul, because we start talking years together about a project, years before the thing is made. We have so much conversation and so much ideas going backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards that he is so committed to the subject as I am to the subject, that he never tries to make something completely different, as some directors do, completely different from the script. No, the script is he has been with the script and with me and with the ideas and with the images that are in them. That and he trusts me. He trusts me. I say, okay, Gerhard, something I don't see it like that. If you write it down like that, he eats it. He eats the ideas, devours them, and then he spits them out more or less the way I like them to be spat out. Yeah.
Spit.
There were very long fights between the people of Orion, the original producers, and the Dutch company that produced the film, and Paul and I, when we were in Hollywood showing for the first time the working copy, and they're really taking out 2 images, 3 images, 4 images. For the American version, the European version was more liberal, but there was an enormous pressure and censorship from the American production company. But if you ask Paul to do something that he doesn't like, he digs in his heels and he starts to yell and to make a fuss and sometimes they gave in and sometimes he had to give in. But there was quite a lot of censorship. Not over in a whole movie, but in some scenes which they thought were too violent or too explicit or something like that. They were quite happy with Jennifer Jason Leigh. It was the first or the second or the third movie she ever did. And it was quite remarkable for an American actress, quite young. I think she was not yet 20 when she did it, to do the things that Paul required of her, asked her to do. I remember a lot of people sitting in front of me And when they had never seen Jennifer Jason Leigh, and one man turned around and said, "Wow!" And a man beside me said, "Just a pair of boobs." And they didn't see it. They didn't realize it all. But what an extraordinary actress she is, even that young in that movie. She made, I think, a great and curious career.
The whole world belongs to us.
If an image or a performance hits you, you forget completely the time. You don't know whether it's 10 seconds or 30 seconds or 10 frames. If something hits you, as a spectator, you lose time. So she made an impression, not because of the length of screening time that she had, but because of her extraordinary talent. If you look at her, you're hit in the face by what she does, and that's what a great performer does, like Jennifer, like Rutger Hauer.
Not with your own filthy hands, Martin.
Cardinal, you missed the loop. Come on.
Paul did Flores with Rutger. Rutger was a complete unknown then, and Paul made him through Flores. He put him on the stage. And then we made Soldier of Orange with Paul Verhoeven, with Rutger, and that made him more or less a star. But he had signed a contract doing Flesh and Blood, and he had made some movies, I think with Michelle Pfeiffer, Nighthawks or something like that. And he had become a star, but he had signed the contract doing this movie, this Flesh and Blood, and he was there all the time, absolutely not loyal, thinking if I would not be here, I would be elsewhere and making a lot and lots of more of money. So it was not that, let's say, altruistic from Rutger. No. Actors are not that altruistic. No.
Thank you, little scholar. Let's get him.
Paul is always in two minds about the things that he has done. Either he is after some time he sees what is good in them, and what is good in the film. I was happy with the movie. Not too many compromises. No, not at all. No.